The difference between climate and weather is climate does not change, such as tropical and temperate climates, but weather keeps changing, such as rainy weather, sunny weather, cloudy weather, overcast weather, or windy weather. Factors that affect climate are A. Latitude. Latitude is the nearer to the equator a place is, the hotter it is, and the farther away from the equator a place is, the colder it is. Another factor that affects climate is B. Altitude. Altitude is the higher up a hill or mountain a place is, the colder it is. And C. The third factor that affects climate is distance from the sea or ocean. That is, places near to the ocean or sea get more rain and are therefore cooler than those farther away. This is because the rain travels in the wind provided by the sea or ocean. The different climatic zones of the world are A. Tropical zone. The tropical zone has sunshine throughout the year, is located between the equator and 23.5 degrees north and 23.5 degrees south of the equator. Examples: the Caribbean and the Sahara Desert. So the tropical zone is located between the equator and 23.5 degrees north, which is the Tropic of Cancer, and 23.5 degrees south, which is the Tropic of Capricorn. So the tropical zone is located between the equator and the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. Another climatic zone is B. Temperate zone. The temperate zones have cool or hot summers and cold or extremely cold winters. Located between the Tropic of Cancer at 23.5 degrees north or the Tropic of Capricorn at 23.5 degrees south, and the Arctic Circle at 66.5 degrees north, or the Antarctic Circle at 66.5 degrees south. There is the North Temperate Zone located between the Arctic Circle and the Tropic of Cancer, and there is also the South Temperate Zone located between the Antarctic Circle and the Tropic of Capricorn. Countries located in these zones include Britain and Italy. So the temperate zones are located between the Tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle, and also the Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Circle. The North Temperate Zone is located in the north. So the North Temperate Zone is located between the Tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle, and the South Temperate Zone is located in the south. So the South Temperate Zone is located between the Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Circle. And the third climatic zone is the polar zone. The polar zones have extremely cold The polar zone is extremely cold throughout the entire year. The polar zone is located between the Arctic Circle and the North Pole, and the Antarctic Circle and the South Pole. So the polar zone, or the polar zones, are located between the Arctic Circle and the North Pole, and the Antarctic Circle and the South Pole. So the North Polar Zone, the North Polar Zone is located between the Arctic Circle and the North Pole, and the South Pole and the South Polar Zone is located between the Antarctic Circle and the South Pole. Places here include Alaska and Greenland. Here we have a diagram that shows the different continents and where they are located. Pertaining to the different climatic zones. You can see where the equator is located, and remember that the tropical zone is located between the equator and the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. So you can see the different continents. You can see North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, and Antarctica. You can see where the tropical zone is located between the equator and the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, and it doesn't really show exactly where the Arctic Circle is, but you can have an idea where it is based off the line that is there. So remember that the North Temperate Zone and the South Temperate Zones are located between the Tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle and the Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Circle, and the North Polar Zone and the South Polar Zone are located between the Arctic Circle and the North Pole and the Antarctic Circle and the South Pole. So look at the diagram and give yourself a good idea where the different tropical zones, where the different climatic zones. Give yourself an idea where the different climatic zones are located. The different continents, where the different continents are located according to the different climatic zones. Life in the tropical zone, Ghana. So this is about a country that is in the tropical zone, and the country that we will be focusing on right now is Ghana. Location, West Africa. Capital, Accra. Climatic type, dry and wet seasons. Physical features, no high mountains. Rivers, the main river is the Volta River. Natural resources of Ghana include agriculture industry includes cocoa, coconut, coffee, yam, rice, corn, and tobacco. Minerals that they mine include gold, bauxite, manganese, and diamond. Economic activities include agriculture, forestry. Forestry is when you work with trees, like you cut down trees and sell the wood, for example, or you might make paper from the tree, or other things that you do with the tree. Other economic activities. So again, economic activities include agriculture, forestry, fishing, mining, and tourism. Culture, they have many linguistic languages. Linguistic means different types of languages. So they have many linguistic languages. They have many linguistic and ethnic groups. Ethnic groups mean the different type of people that are in the country, from the different people who have maybe migrated there from other countries, right? So people who have migrated there from other countries, or maybe their parents had migrated there from other countries, so they're not exactly Ghanans, or they weren't really, they might have been born in Ghana, so they are Ghanans, but they have relatives from other countries, so they are of different ethnic groups. So again, the culture, they have many linguistic and ethnic groups, and Ghana does much wood carvings, weaving, gold jewelry, pottery. They are popular for what is called talking drums. And Ghana keeps a traditional society, as in they have chiefs in politics. Traditional mean what they used to do long ago. So they still keep the tradition of what they used to do long ago in some ways. So they still have chiefs. So they used to have chiefs long ago, many years ago, like maybe 500, 1,000 years ago, and they still have chiefs. They still refer to the people as chiefs. They still refer to some people as chiefs. So that is Ghana. Life in the tropical zone, a country in the tropical zone, Ghana, located in West Africa. So look at the diagram. Here we have a diagram, or we have a picture of some Ghanaian people. So you can see them there in their African clothes. You won't have many Ghanaians being dressed like that all the time these days, in these modern times. But some of them, sometimes they do still dress traditionally in their African clothes that they used to wear long ago. And you can see a man also using an umbrella to shade another man. So the man that is being shaded is superior are more important than the one that is shading with the umbrella. So that is also a traditional practice. So you can look at the picture of the Ghanans. Life in the South Temperate Zone, New Zealand. So now we will be looking at a country in the South Temperate Zone, and the country in the South Temperate Zone that we will be looking at is New Zealand. New Zealand. Location: South Pacific Ocean. Capital: Wellington. Physical features: New Zealand is very mountainous, has large plains. The climate: New Zealand has warm summers and cool winters. Natural resources of New Zealand include dairy farming. Dairy would be things such as milk and cheese, okay, and butter also. So dairy industries include dairy farming, crop farming, sheep, forests, coal, gold, sand, gravel, and limestone. Manufacturing that New Zealand does include, they manufacture cheese, butter, mutton, beef, iron, steel, textile, which is cloth that you wear, used to wear clothes, for example. They also manufacture aluminium. Mining activities of New Zealand include, they mine gold, iron, coal, and limestone. New Zealand does trading in, for example, butter, cheese, mutton, and wool. And the culture of New Zealand is European, mainly British, which is England. So the culture of New Zealand is European origin. Origin mean they start from Europeans. They started out as Europeans. They're not mixed. They're mostly Europeans at first. So they're not really like mixed with other races. So it's mainly people that came from Britain then. Mainly people that came from Britain. So the culture of New Zealand is European origin, and they love sports. Okay, I have here two diagrams. The picture at the bottom shows New Zealand. New Zealanders, people from New Zealand, and you can see that they are mainly white. They are mainly white people, and some of them look a little Chinese and a little Indian. The picture over to the right shows indigenous New Zealanders, people from New Zealand that were there originally. So they are the indigenous people, and they are the minority. That means they are not as much as the white people, or not as much as the British people. So they look, you can see them looking a little Indian, a mixture between Indian and Chinese, like the Arawak somewhat. So those would be indigenous people that still live in New Zealand. So look at the photographs, examine them. This was life in the South Temperate Zone, and the country that we focused on was New Zealand. Life in the North Temperate Zone, Japan. So now we will be looking at a country in the North Temperate Zone, and the country in the North Temperate Zone that we will be looking at is Japan. Location: North Pacific Ocean and Asia. The capital is Tokyo. The climate of Japan is cold winters and warm summers. Physical features of Japan: many rugged mountains, many rough rivers, many minor earthquakes daily. Japan gets about 1,500 earthquakes per year. Although the most of them are minor, they are not harsh earthquakes. But Japan gets about 1,500 earthquakes per year. Japan also has volcanoes. Natural resources of Japan include forestry, coal, wood, paper, fruits, flowers. Though not much minerals are available, there is some gold, copper, silver. Japan also has hydroelectricity. Hydroelectricity is when you use water to create electricity. So Japan, as a natural resource, one of the natural resources of Japan, they use hydroelectricity. They use hydroelectricity using its rough rivers to create electricity. Hydroelectricity. Hydro means water. Hydro means water. Japan also has a small oil field. Small oil fields. So small oil fields are present. Japan is one of the world's leading industrial countries. Economic activities of Japan include silk cloth, fishing, motor vehicle manufacture, motorcycle manufacture, electrical appliances manufacture. Rice is the most important food for Japan. The culture of Japan. They live in very small houses. They have a high population. A high population means many people live in Japan. Many people live in Japan. So, the culture of Japan, they live in very small houses. They have a high population. They also have a high standard of living. High standard of living means that they live well. So they're like almost rich. Okay? So Japanese have a good way of life. So even though they have a high population, they have a good standard of living. So Japan also has a high standard of living. The official clothes worn is kimono. They love gymnastics, judo, ikebana. Ikebana is floral arts. They love and sing reggae music. New Year's is the most important holiday for Japanese. So New Year's is the most important holiday for Japanese. So here I have a photo of Japanese people. Nothing much to say about the photo. They are dressed in modern clothing, modern Western type kind of clothing. Western type meaning clothes that Americans would wear, or we over this side, we who live in the west part of the world, we who live in the western part of the world. So they are wearing Western clothing. So nothing much to say about the photo. You can look how Japanese look. This is the look of Japanese, so you can examine the photo. Life in the North Polar Zone, Siberia. So now we will be doing a country in the North Polar Zone, and the country is Siberia. So life in the North Polar Zone, Siberia. Location, Northern Russia. Capital, it has no capital. Climate, very cold, extremely severe and long cold winters. Severe means harsh. So it's hard. And the reason why Siberia doesn't have any capital is because it's not a country. It's not a country, it's a part of Russia. Siberia is not a country, it's a part of Russia. By itself, Siberia by itself, it would be the largest country in the world. If you should put it by itself, and if it were a country, it would be the largest country in the world. It is that large. So Siberia, if it were a country, it would be the largest country in the world, but it is not a country, it is a part of Russia. Siberia is a part of Russia. So let me start over. Life in the North Polar Zone, Siberia. Location, Northern Russia, Asia, and also in Asia. So it's a part of Russia, and part of it goes into Asia. So life in the North Polar Zone, Siberia. Location, Northern Russia, Asia. Capital, it has no capital. Climate, very cold, extremely severe and long cold winters. Short, cool summers. At least one day of each year, the sun does not set, and at least one day of the year, the sun does not rise for Siberians. Physical features. Siberia has active volcanoes, mighty rivers. It has Lake Baikal, which is the world's deepest lake, with 1/5 of the world's fresh surface water, and contains many plants and animals which exist nowhere else on earth. Siberia means sleeping land. The land is very large and almost empty. Natural resources of Siberia. Siberia has the famous large forest, the taiga, and similarly famous the large vegetation belts of shrubs and grasses, the tundra. So the vegetation belt or the vegetation of shrubs and grasses is called the tundra, and the large forest is called the taiga. The large forest is called the taiga. Continuing, Siberia has many minerals such as oil, natural gas, gold, copper, diamond, coal, and iron. Economic activities of Siberia include export of oil and natural gas supplied mainly to Russia. The country is also rich in animal life. So it sells much furs. Fur would be the hair of animals. The hair of animals. So fur would be the animal hair, and the animals in Siberia are very hairy, being that the country is very cold. The nature has made the hairs or the furs of the animals a lot. I've made them very hairy, very furry. So they sell. Siberia makes use of their furs, and they cut the furs and sell them, and people can use them to make like clothes, or can use them cover cities, and they look very wealthy, very rich, very expensive. Okay, so let's continue. So the country is also rich in animal life, so it sells much furs. 10% of its income comes from fur export, and export means that they sell to other countries. Export means that they sell the fur to other countries. Transportation is done mainly by railway. Culture. The culture of Siberia. The country's language is Russian. Some Siberians are nomads, and nomads are people who live nowhere in particular but travel and hunt, fish, trade, etc. So nomads don't live anywhere. Really, they don't build a house. Nomads Nomads are people who don't build a house, they don't rent a house, they travel from place to place and live where they travel. So some Siberians are nomads. Some Siberians are nomads. When the ground is frozen with ice, Siberians travel by sleds drawn by huskies, and huskies are dogs. So here I have three diagrams. I have three diagrams here. I have three diagrams. The first diagram shows a map of Siberia, and looking at the map you can see that Siberia is a part of Russia. So Siberia is not a country, it is a part of Russia. So Siberia, looking at the map, you can see that Siberia is a part of Russia. The second picture or the second photo shows two men. They are Siberians. They are what you call indigenous Siberians. So in Siberia, like in New Zealand, you have indigenous people who were there before the Europeans came there. You can see that these two men look very Chinese. They look very Chinese and they're a bit dark. So you can see that they get a lot of sunshine even though it's very cold. It's cold most of the time, but you can see that they have a lot of sunshine being that they're a little dark. So they look Chinese. So those are two indigenous men of Siberia. Two people who came from Siberia originally, or people who are not really mixed with Europeans as such. So they look Chinese. So those are two Siberians. And beside that picture you have another photo, and this photo shows two white people, a white man and a white woman, and they are also Siberians, but they are not indigenous Siberians. They came from Russia, most likely. They came from Russia. So they are white and they are Siberians also, and they live in Siberia. So those are the three photographs. So those are the three diagrams. You have the map of Siberia, so you have the map of Siberia, the photo of two indigenous Siberians, and a photo of Russians who are now Siberians. So take a look at the photos. Spend some time to examine the photos. We have not included a country in the South Polar Zone. So we have not included a country in the South Polar Zone because there are no countries there really. As such, you have the Antarctica. That's the continent that is there in the South Polar Zone. In the South Polar Zone you have Antarctica, and you don't have people living on Antarctica as such. You have some animals such as the seal and the walrus, but you don't have people living on Antarctica as such. So you don't have people living in the South Polar Zone as such. So we do not include a country in the South Polar Zone. Thank you for watching. You should watch these GSAT videos over and over again until you know them from memory. Repetition is important. You can always message me if you have any questions or need further help using my email address, my Facebook page, or the telephone numbers that are shown on the screen. So bye bye for now. Bye bye.